Hello, everybody. I'll give just a couple more minutes for people to get signed into the webinar, and we'll start here momentarily. All right, well, it is 10 o'clock on September 7th, 2021. I would like to welcome everyone to the 5th installment of the Student Business Office Tuition Tuesdays. Want to let all the attendees know that this webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be made available on our Student Business Office website. My name is Matt. I have worked in the Student Business Office here at Western for 6.5 years. I work on the billing side. I'm billing specialist. I'm here at the SBO, and I'd like to introduce my co-hosts.
Hi, everybody. My name is Madeline. I'm a junior at Western. I've been working in the Student Business Office for about 8 months. I'm a double major in secondary education and English with a minor in leadership studies. Yeah, and I'm just super excited to be here and help y'all with any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Madeline. Madeline is one of our work study students. She does a great job for us. So yeah, what this webinar is, so take about 30 to 45 minutes to cover what we call the checklist for success, along with a few basics and general overview of our office and the student account online. There will be some general bits of information located in the chat box. Madeline's going to throw up some websites, email addresses that correlate to what we're talking about today. Feel free to type in any questions into the Q&A, and I will do my best to leave a few minutes at the end of the presentation to answer any questions you have. If I have quite a bit of information, but it's not a ton. If I do go too fast, let us know in the Q&A. I'll circle back around and we'll answer all your questions. We have had 4 previous webinars or presentations that have to do with the student account online, making payments, payment plan information, how to avoid late fees, and a little more in-depth information about refunds. So you can view all of those on the Student Business Office website. And this one, like I said a few minutes ago, this one will be available to view as well once we post it. If we don't get to your questions at the end of the 45 minutes, send us an email to the SBO at wwu.edu. We will get back to you within a day or two. It's usually the same day right now. So yeah, any additional questions after we're done, please feel free to give us a call or email us. All right, I am going to start sharing my screen here. We have a short little PowerPoint. I'm just going to talk through it. Give me 1 second. All right, are we good, Madeline?
Yep, we
Okay.
are all good to go.
Perfect. Let me just get to my screen. All right. All right, so a little bit about our office. We're comprised of 6 business units. I'm going to turn my video off, actually. We're comprised of 6 business units. So the billing unit, which I just talked about, where Madeline and myself work. The revenue unit, so the cashier side, we take payments in our office, both mailed in payments and in-person payments. Debt recovery unit, if you happen to leave Western with any sort of debt owing to the school, we have some fantastic folks that can help you navigate that and make repayments to the school. We recently, in the last year and a half, actually since COVID happened, we took on the transportation, or not transportation office, the Western card office and box office. So those of you that haven't gotten your Western ID card, please reach out to them. And transportation, we've had for a few years, so they handle all things parking, bus rides, car share, biking to school, walking to school, any kind of transportation needs that you have, or questions, please reach out to them. In our unit, we specialize basically in the Western account. Every student has a Western account, and it's essentially a record of all charges, refunds, payments related to tuition, mandatory fees, course fees, housing, meal plans. All that stuff is basically hosted on your Western account online. So I'm sure that, and that's basically something you can access through your My Western and your Web4U. And what we're going to talk about today really is a checklist for success. That's what we call it. This is really housekeeping item. The 4 items that we really encourage new students to complete. It's something you only have to do one time. It's not like you have to go back and do it each year. They're just things to make your life a little easier, make a life easier of those that might be helping you either pay for school or help you navigate school. And those 4 items are listed right here. So this is the release of financial information. We'll talk more in depth about each one of these. Essentially, we can't talk to anybody about your student account or your finances without the student's permission. The authorization to apply financial aid funds form. So it's just a simple form. Those of you that have used financial aid, state or federal aid, to pay for your tuition, it can only pay for base tuition and fees. And we'll talk about some of the other things that your financial aid can cover with by completing that form. Payer invitation. This is essentially somebody that might be paying on your behalf. You need to give them access to the Western account online so that they can log into the Western account, view any sort of tuition balances, make a payment, view the monthly statement. We'll show you how to do that. And then the last item is setting up direct deposit to accept or receive refunds. So at some point in your college career, you're more likely going to get some kind of refund. I'll talk a little bit about what some of those items will be in just a few minutes. But really, these 4 items can be completed probably within a half an hour or less. So we'll just move on to talking about each one of these things. All right, so the release of financial information. I'm just going to show you how you access each one of these things from our Student Business Office website. All right, let's see here. Well, bear with me one second. I don't know if that's showing up on our side or not.
You're currently on the page where you can watch some of the Tuition Tuesdays that we have.
Okay, good. Okay,
Awesome.
I was in the right spot, sorry.
Yeah.
So the Student Business Office website is where you can access each one of these things. We actually have the checklist right on the home page. So you'll just scroll down, go to the first one, and it's the release of financial information. You're just gonna, hopefully, I'm going to, so this is your form. Again, so this is basically, it's similar to the HIPAA laws. This is the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act of 1974. We call it FERPA for short. We cannot talk to a parent, a grandparent, or anybody calling or emailing us on behalf of the student about their finances, unless the student gives us their consent. And essentially, the student just fills out their name and information up top here, and they will put down the name of the person, the relationship, and the phone number of that person, and submit it to the SBO. That goes straight to us. We record the names of those people and their relationship to you. And when somebody calls or emails on behalf of the student, we will go take a look to make sure that we can talk to that person. And if we can't, we'll let them know that we can't talk to them about the student account. And if we can, then we'll move on and try to help that person calling on behalf of the student as best we can. This probably is one of the most important things, especially for new incoming freshmen, doing something brand new to them as far as coming to school. There's a lot on your plate, and this is something that's going to help you if you are fortunate enough to have a parent or somebody helping you with finances or helping you navigate the financials of going to college. Please get this done. It makes the student's life easier, parents' life more easier, and as well as ours. So we want to help people as best we can, and this is one of the items that tends to get forgotten about in years past. So really try to encourage people to fill this out, or to students fill this out, and let their parents help if they want them to. And again, it's totally up to the student. So yeah, the next item is our authorization to apply financial aid funds. So this really only applies to those that are using any sort of financial aid, state or federal aid. Again, financial aid can only pay base tuition, fees, housing and meal plan. There is the bookstore here on campus. You do have the option to either pay at the counter or online, or you can elect to have those charges charged to your Western account. If you charge those bookstore purchases to your Western account, you have 30 days to pay them. If they happen to make it to you on your Western account before financial aid applies to your Western account, it can pay those types of things. Western ID cards, health center charges, and then prior academic year charges up to $200. Again, if you have federal aid, it doesn't hurt to just have this filled out if you want. If it never gets utilized, then that's totally fine, no harm done. But just it's kind of up to you whether you want financial aid to pay, some of those other expenses. And really, the bookstore and the Western ID card, if you lose your Western ID card, it's $25 to replace it. But those are the two main ones that we see as far as miscellaneous charges on student accounts. Now, our next item, again, this is all on the Student Business Office website. You can go just Google WSBO. It'll take you right here. I'm going to talk about the payer invitation and how you sign folks up to log into the student account online and make payments. Now, I wonder if this is going to let me log in. That was my whole plan here. So actually, what I clicked on were just how-to videos. Students, you'll want to just click on the students button. And this is going to take you to your Western account online. I'm not a student. This is what your Western account online looks like. I am fortunate enough to not have an owing balance because I've been out of college for a real long time. So yeah, this is where you're going to view your balance. Just a quick tutorial. Your balance is in the top right-hand corner. Parents and students see the exact same thing. Students, if you do want to have a parent, grandparent, significant other, sibling, if you want them to have access to this account, you're simply going to go up to My Account and click on that link. And payers, you're going to send a payer invitation. And simply, you're putting their name, their last name, the email address, and the two boxes right here allow access to statements and tax forms. Those are already checked. If you don't want mom or dad to have those, that's up to you. You can uncheck them if you want. But what happens when you fill this out is that mom and dad get an email to their personal email account, and they will have instructions to create their own login and password. And they can see, like I said, see the same thing. The only difference is if mom or dad or whoever want to save a payment method, that's exclusive to their screen. Unfortunately, the student's not going to have access to bank account information. But yeah, see the exact same thing, and you'll get a notification of our monthly statements each month, just like the student does. So again, this is just to have somebody, grant them access to this Western account online so that they can stay on top of the finances and make payments on behalf of the student. Now let's go back. It's pretty easy stuff here. I'm gonna back up to our website. Direct deposit. Now, most students at some point are going to get a refund. Those of you that are staying in housing, let me just get back to my PowerPoint here. And all right, so those of you that are staying in housing, I'm just going to give you an example of a refund. So you're staying in housing, you paid a $200 deposit, damage deposit, you more than likely will get that deposit back when you move out of campus housing. Other forms of a refund or examples would be excess payments from financial aid, scholarships, grants, or there might be an excess payment from somebody just like yourself or a parent. What happens when there's nothing to pay on the Western account is that it creates a credit. And by law, we do have to return that money back to the student. And we do that via direct deposit. And, what we want you to do is set up a direct deposit to a bank account, or you can open one with Bank Mobile. And when there is a credit on your student account, we will refund that back to the student. Within 1 to 2 days, it should arrive in your bank account. If you haven't already, you may have gotten a green envelope in the mail. So every new student gets this green envelope. It does kind of look like junk mail. It is not junk mail. What basically is in that green envelope is an access code to access the Bank Mobile site. There are partners to disperse any refunds that we issue out to students. If you don't have the envelope, you haven't received it, please reach out to us. We can send you one. We can basically send you a access code to your email, and it'll take you right to the site and you'll log in. When you do log in, you're going to be presented with two options. You can use your personal bank account. If you already have a checking account, you'll be able to set up direct deposit right to that. or BankMobile does have a free checking account called the Vibe account. It is free as long as you're enrolled in school. If you want to keep that bank account after you leave school, I think they have a monthly fee or something like that. Both options are great. You do get your money fairly quickly. Like I said, same business, 1 to 2 business days for the existing bank account. And then the BankMobile Vibe is typically the same day, it's like 1 day. Just a little tidbit of information, setting up direct deposit to your existing bank account is a little bit faster because you already have an account number and a routing number. Setting up the BankMobile Vibe does require the student to send in some identification just so they can verify that this is a real person setting up a legit bank account for school refunds. That's it about the the refunding process. We refund students every day for the first 2 weeks, and then Monday, Wednesdays after that for the rest of the quarter. So those are kind of our 4 items when it comes to the checklist for success. Again, you have that release of financial information form, the authorization to apply financial aid funds form, and then inviting payers or setting a payer invitation, and then again setting up a refunds. Again, if you don't ever get a refund and you have it set up, no harm done. I think it doesn't hurt to do it. And if you do get a refund, you'll get it quickly. We just really want to avoid sending checks. Checks do take a long time to come through the mail. It's usually about a month before BankMobile issue a check. But if you have further questions about that, please reach out to our office. So I wanted to just quickly kind of go over just a few base pieces of information about coming to school and paying your bill on time. Your tuition, fees, housing, meal plans, any of that stuff is due on the first day of the quarter. I believe we're starting on the 22nd, just like the screen says. So anything after that, it's considered late. Winter quarter, we start January 4th, and then spring, we start March 29th. We do assess late fees on any past due balances on the 15th of the month. So for fall quarter, that doesn't happen until October 15th. And then we assess them November and December for the fall quarter charges. If you have outstanding charges that are not paid, you receive a late fee, those October, November, and December. And same thing, basically we assess late fees 3 times a quarter. So just keep in mind, winter quarter is a short turnaround. We start on the 4th and we assess the late fee on January, at the end of the day on the January 15th. Late fees are expensive. It's a $55 late fee and a 1% interest charge. Hopefully those of you that are here are not going to get a late fee. We do everything we can to try to get people prepared for school so that they don't get late fees. So just keep those dates in mind. Students, if you're making any changes to your Western account that might result in a charge, please check your student account and let a payer, if you have someone paying on your behalf, let them know that you have additional charges that need to be paid. Communication between the student and the parent is very key and very important. How do you pay? The best way to pay is we have 2 options. What we call an e-check payment is absolutely free. It does post immediately to the student account once you make that payment. When you will log into your Western account online, you'll select make a payment. There's the e-check method, and then there's also the credit card method. Beware that if you are entering any sort of credit card or even a debit card, there is going to be a 2.75% fee from our credit card merchant servicer. The e-check method, or basically paying with your bank account information, there is no fee. You need your routing number to your bank account and your checking account number. You can get both of those pieces of information from your your bank. You can typically just log in to your online account and find out that information. I know we have a picture of a check here. I don't even write checks myself, so I wouldn't blame a student if they never use a check. Like I said, go to your bank account, find out that information, and if you are going to be paying with your checking account, that is the best way to do it, is just to select the e-check method of payment. So a little breakdown of other forms of payment here. If parents or any others that are using the Washington Get program, or any other college savings plans, 529 plans, please allow adequate time for those payments to arrive to our school. Most 529 plans, unfortunately, do still send checks through the mail. So, students, if your mom and dad are using a 529 plan to pay your tuition, let them know as soon as you're done registering for the future quarter or the upcoming quarter, so that they can get that money ordered. If you are using a Washington Get money, they do wire it, but it still does take about 10 days. And you can do all that on their website. But they send us the money directly via a wire. But any other college savings plans do allow time for checks to arrive in the mail. Financial aid. Many students on our campus use financial aid, both federal and state, loans, grants. Please, if you are using that type of benefit, please make sure that you are completing all the requirements that financial aid has put out there for you. If you're using loans, there's things like the master promissory note, entrance counseling, various tax forms that financial aid needs. If any one of those things is not completed, that will hold up disbursement of that financial aid. Keep in mind, financial aid they don't send the student money directly. They essentially post payments to the Western account online. So it's not like you have to get a check from financial aid and then come bring it to us. But like I said, if some of those requirements are not fulfilled, get them done so that your disbursement can happen on time. Financial aid does post the Friday before classes begin each quarter. If you have further questions about some of the requirements, please don't hesitate to reach out to financial aid. We can answer a handful of different financial aid questions or concerns, but if it's over our head, we'll definitely have somebody from their department reach out to you. The last one I want to talk about, any of you that are using veterans or veteran family benefits. First of all, thank you for your service. We do have a veteran service office on campus. They make sure that you're getting your certifications done. Really, the only part of the VA stuff that we handle is essentially posting the payments to your Western account from the various benefits. But if you have questions about certifying, reach out to them. They'll be happy to help you. So yeah, veterans, family of veterans, there is that form of payment as well. So I was going to have my co-host Madeline here talk a little bit about her experience. She's a new student this year, or last year, I think, right, Madeline? You were going to share a little bit about, give these folks some tidbits of information. So I'll let you take it over.
Okay, great. So like Matt said, I was a transfer student to Western. So I did transfer in the middle of online learning. So I wasn't able to go in person and do all the super fun things that I know all of us are looking forward to in the fall quarter. So as a student who was both new recently and also someone that does work in the office, I do have a couple tips and tricks for all of you. I think one of the most important things that I would recommend for incoming freshmen or transfer students is to for sure set up Bank Mobile. When I first got the Bank Mobile information in the mail, am going to be super honest with y'all. I did not set it up because I thought that it was scam. It is not scam, I promise you. It is something that is super important and that I do highly recommend getting set up before the quarter starts. That way that you don't have to worry about getting it set up and anything going wrong. So I would just get that set up right before fall quarter starts. So you have that out of the way. Another thing that I would also really recommend getting done is that IR form and that payer invitation. So if you have mom or dad or grandparent or aunt or uncle or anything that you want to be able to call us and give us some information and us to be able to answer their questions, that IR form does need to be filled out just so we can talk to them. So sometimes that, creates some questions about why that's not filled out from the parents. So I think it might be best to just get that over and done with before the quarter starts so you don't have to deal with that. And then again, with that authorized payer invitation as well, just so when payments are due, you don't have to worry about how do I get this payer into my account? How do I make payments? How does all that work? And then something else that I would really recommend is probably checking your statements. So we do send out statements on the first of each month, like Matt did say a little bit ago. I know a lot of students don't always check them. I do recommend checking them just because your balance can change sometimes. So you could get a bookstore charge on your account after you've paid your tuition, and then that could be on your account. And if you forget about it, then you could get a late fee for that. So it might just be best to go ahead and check that statement once a month. When it comes out, you'll get an email. It's in your web for you. You can view that at any time. So that's a really good way to keep on top of your balance so you don't get that expensive $55 late fee and that percent interest charge. So yeah, those are some tips that I have. Also, just like keep an eye on your email. We do send a lot of good information. And then always feel free to give us a call or email us. We will get back to you either way.
Thank you, Madeline. So yeah, we're right around 36 minutes here. We have time for some questions. Madeline, do we get any questions in the Q&A there that I can help out with?
Yeah, we did. So let's start with, we did get one question in the chat and then we have a good amount in that Q&A section. So the one in the chat is asking about not seeing the WE scholarship yet on the balance and asking when it's going to be processed so we can pay the correct amount.
Okay, yeah, so any sort of federal aid, state grants, scholarships, both private and Western scholarships like the WUI will be posted the Friday before classes begin. So I think that's next Friday. That's when you're going to see those payments onto the Western account. You can then make your payment to make up the difference. The student could log in and look at their financial aid award before that if you'd like, and you can kind of make do some simple math and deduct it from what your balance is right now. But again, as long as you pay by the first day of class or at the very latest, October 15th, you sort of get a grace period there to make that payment, you're fine. So just remember the Friday before the term begins is when you'll see financial aid and scholarships.
Yeah. Okay, and then we've got one more that just popped up in the chat, and then I will move into the Q&A. So the last one we have in the chat is, do parents also get an email statement invoice?
Yep, so we don't send out invoices or bills. Keep that in mind. If the student signs on, parents to be able to access the Western Account line, you will get a notification at the beginning of each month that there's a new monthly statement. So student and parent will both get that as long as the parent is an authorized user on the account. And essentially all it is you have a new statement to view and it requires you to go log in and view that statement. I will just warn you that the statement may not always be up to date because it's really just a snapshot of what the balance on the Western account is on the first day of the month. And it's a snapshot of what happened the previous month as well. So If there's any changes after that first day of the month, it's probably not going to be accurate. So you'll want to just go to the Western Account Online homepage, that transact page, and look in the top right-hand corner. That's how you're going to see, or that's where you're going to see the most up-to-date real-time balance. But yes, both parents and students will have access to the statements.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move on into that Q&A. So if folks have questions, you can keep adding them in there and we can try and get to all of them that we can. So the first one that we're going to go over is, how do we know if our student has already completed the release of financial information and the payer invitation? I can take this one. So the payer invitation, you'll get a notification through your email that you ask your student to put in there. So when they put in your first and last name and your email in there, so you'll get an email notification of that. And that is how you're going to get that login information. For the release of financial information form, you're not going to necessarily get a specific notification in your email or anything. So the best way to find that out, I would say, is probably asking your student or contacting your student to see if they did fill that out. And then if they're not sure, you can always give us a call and I can check that account for you. Yeah, okay. And then moving on. So do scholarships get applied to the final bills? Yep.
Yep.
Do scholarships
So
get applied to the final bills? Yeah.
yeah, so like I said, it'll be scholarships, grants, financial aid will all post as a payment to the Western Account Online. You'll be able to see that payment on the next, statement. So if everything posts to the Western Account on time, which is the Friday before classes begin, you should see all that stuff on the October 1st statement or in the most recent activity tab of the Western Account.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so then the next question is going to be, how do we pay with an e-check?
Yeah, so once you're in the Western Account, you'll select make a payment, the amount that you want to pay, and then if you select the electronic payment or electronic check payment, it's going to ask for your routing number and checking account number, not a debit card number or anything like that. So just the actual checking account number and routing number. And it essentially does a withdrawal from the bank account. And if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to us. I think we even have a short, like 1-minute tutorial video on our website on how to pay. And it's just like it shows you the screens and all that stuff. So check that out.
Okay, so then we have, will we receive an email every time the balance changes in the account? I can go ahead and take this one. So you're not going to get an email every time something changes on the account. So for example, let's say your student dropped a class. So they say they dropped biology class. You're not going to get a notification if they did drop that class. So you're not going to get the notification of if that charge changed or not, or any other charge that happened. Everything for the statement on the 1st. So for example, October 1st, the statement, that's going to have everything that happened before October 1st on there for the month of September. So that's just kind of going to be an updated statement that you're going to get, but no, you won't be getting a notification or an email every time that a change happens on the account, which is why I do recommend keeping an eye on that statement, just to take a look at it on the 1st of the month, just so you can keep track. And then you can also always view your account balance online as well.
Yeah, and I will just add, it's really the student's responsibility to let mom and dad or whoever know if they made a change to their schedule that resulted in additional charges, or they made a change to their meal plan. Anything like that, students check your Western account as soon as, after that transaction is done, take a look. If you have a balance owing, let mom and dad or whoever know that you have new charges. And again, you can always check your Western account online, both parents and students. You don't have to wait for a statement. So we really do encourage students to communicate with families that are paying.
Yeah. Okay, so then we have, can students set up and maintain a reserve to cover books, transportation, etc.?
Set up a, what was that again?
A reserve?
No, I'm not exactly sure I understand, but I'm guessing it's setting aside money for books. We don't really have any sort of holding account or anything like that. We don't carry over any sort of credit balances to the next quarter. So no, there's not really a reserve system or a banked system for stuff like that. With the bookstore charges, you do get 30 days to pay. So if you go today and charge books to your Western account online, you have 30 days to pay that charge off. So it wouldn't be due until this time next month. That's the only like miscellaneous charge, that and the Western ID card. You do get 30 days to make a payment on those, just for your information. But if I didn't answer that question, please shoot us an email.
Yeah. Okay, so then we have, when is the last day to drop a class without a fee?
So basically you have the first 5 days of the quarter is sort of open for adding and dropping classes. So the first 5 days, if you, let's say, drop a class or drop all your classes, you get 100% reversal of the tuition and fees, within that 5 days. After that, you only get a half refund, and the half refund period ends about a month after the quarter begins. So it's really that first 5 days is when you want to make your moves as far as adding and dropping classes without incurring extra charges or being responsible for half the charges. Hopefully I answered that one. That's all done through the registrar's office, and you can add and drop classes within the first 5 days yourself, without actually filling out a withdrawal form through the registrar's office.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then we've got, can the VSO help figure out if there are benefits available for a student?
Yes, I would definitely reach out to them. Like I said, we don't work with the students on who qualifies for what. All of that is done through the VSO. So yeah, definitely reach out to the Veteran Services Office. They'll be able to help you navigate that and fill out the necessary forms.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and move back over to the chat because it looks like we've got a couple more questions over there. We are getting close to the end of the time period that we do have today. So if y'all have any last minute questions, go ahead and drop them in that Q&A box. So then we've got, can anything on campus be charged to their account?
No, it's really just like bookstore charges and like a replacement ID card. That's and obviously tuition, the mandatory fees, course fees, housing, meal plan, food and other stuff like that, or can't really be charged to the Western account.
Yeah. And then the last question that I can see right now is the price the same for online versus in-person classes?
No, so if you're taking a class that is an actual traditional online course, that's all done through our outreach and extending education, or continuing education department. It is a little bit more per credit, as far as the dollar amount. You'll be essentially, when you register for that type of class, you will get a notification saying this class incurs additional charges. So it is charged separately from what are considered traditional, like in-person classes. But you will get a little message pop up when that happens. We are at overtime here. I will let everybody go. We will answer any additional questions in the chat. So we won't leave. Feel free to hop out of here, but we'll end it now. Thank you everybody for attending this presentation. Hopefully you got something out of it, and we'll see you soon. So thank you, everybody. Thanks,
Bye,
Madeline.
everyone. Yeah.